Exposing Criminal Activity in Richard Nixon's White House. Your history professor has probably stated in class on more than one occasion that history repeats itself. Yeah. You may think, having heard it from your parents, your extended family members, friends, and even other people your own age. Well, the saying is as true as your second grade teacher's assertions that if you got 3 apples from Tommy, 5 from Mary Lou, and 2 from Uncle Bill, you will have 10 apples, more than enough to make an apple pie. Unless one of those apples is rotten. Then it may lead to the resignation of the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States. So how do you know if one of the apples is rotten? You appoint a special apple investigator and turn him or her loose to check out the fruit. Okay, it sounds like I may be making allusions to today, here in the summer of 2018, when some in the country think that there may be something rotten in the state of presidential politics, and a special investigator has been appointed. But other U.S. presidents and members of their administrations have been questioned and examined by specially appointed investigators too. For example, Ronald Reagan and the Iran-Contra affair. This involved secret U.S. weapons sales to Iran during the mid-1980s and using the money to support anti-communist Contra rebels in Nicaragua who opposed the communist Sandinista government. This followed on the heels of the Iran hostage situation, where Iranian students took more than 50 Americans hostage, and the Iranian government refused to force the students to set the hostages free. As a result, the U.S. levied a trade embargo against Iran. Essentially, it was illegal to sell weapons or anything else to the Iranians. During the investigation, it came to light that weapons had been sold to Iran and the proceeds diverted to the Contras. Names like Secretary of State George Shultz, Secretary of Defense Caspar Weinberger, National Security Advisor John Poindexter, and especially famous while and after testifying publicly about what happened, Poindexter's aide, Oliver North, come to mind. Also Bill Clinton, Whitewater, and Monica Lewinsky. President Bill Clinton was troubled by 2 separate investigations during his terms in office between the years 1992 and 2000. The first involved a real estate project, known as Whitewater, in his home state of Arkansas. After securing a number of investors, the project failed, and the investors lost their money. There were allegations of fraud and illegal activity associated with the real estate promotion. Because Clinton and his wife were associated with the deal, they were investigated. Eventually, in 1994, all Clinton administration members, including the president, were cleared of any wrongdoing. About that same time, a former Arkansas state employee, Paula Jones, brought a sexual harassment suit against President Clinton. A special investigator, Ken Starr, was appointed, but the case was settled out of court for $850,000 before the investigation got too far. During the investigation of these allegations, the special prosecutor discovered Clinton's alleged relationship with a White House intern, Monica Lewinsky. As the facts became public and the president was asked more and more questions about the allegations, Clinton is famously recorded and remembered as stating he did not have sexual relations with that woman, leading many to wonder what his exact definition of sexual relations was. He was impeached by the House of Representatives in 1998 for lying about the relationship. In 1999, he was acquitted by the Senate of all charges. But the truth is, we would have to go back much farther to include all such investigations. The first seems to have occurred in the 1870s. In 1875, a special prosecutor appointed by then-President General Ulysses S. Grant targeted people in Grant's administration while following up on allegations of what became known as the Whiskey Ring Scandal. In the early 1870s, members of Grant's administration became involved with whiskey distillers and distributors in the upper Midwest, many IRS agents, and others in a plot to divert tax dollars away from the U.S. Treasury and into Grant's reelection fund. Eventually, the illegal activity diverted money into the pockets of individuals as well. In 1875, Newly appointed Treasury Secretary Benjamin Bristow secretly investigated the rumors about a whiskey ring and had more than 300 people arrested. Grant appointed a special prosecutor, and indictments began to flow like the whiskey used to earn the illegal tax dollars in the first place flowed from the barrels. The indictments led directly to members of Grant's administration, including a close friend, General Orville Babcock. After several people had gone to trial, been found guilty, and were given jail terms and fines, questions were raised about Grant's involvement. Grant fired the special prosecutor and replaced him with another, and the president gave a sworn deposition to the special prosecutor about Babcock, who ended up being the only person indicted by the special prosecutor to be acquitted of any wrongdoing. Incidentally, after his acquittal, Babcock returned to work for Grant but was forced by the public's reaction to resign. And within 10 days of his resignation, he was indicted in another scandal. But none of these special investigations had the effect of the mid-1970s investigation focused on in this chapter of the textbook, the one that led to the only resignation of a U.S. president in this country's history, the investigation of Richard Nixon and Watergate. Read the chapter and find out the role of the news media that led to this sad and unique event in American history.